Security looks like, oh no. Whoops.
Everybody does. We're all concerned about the thickening of the border. The issue is, frankly, the secrecy with which this is being done. Why would we have a whole process apparently leading to some kind of an agreement with a whole media rollout being proposed by the government, and we're in the dark. No one's opposed to making sure that. We're in this crazy situation in Canada where trouble is easier between Germany and France than it is between Canada and the United States. When you consider the history of the 20th century, that's a rather ironic statement. So I think we should be moving to do that, but to provide greater cooperation. That's not the issue. The issue is how government manages these affairs in Canada.
Is there any things you listed out? You rattled off a list. Serious areas you're concerned about immigration, etc. Are there any areas that might be off the table?
No, I think we have to look and see what it is the government is proposing. The problem we have right now is we don't have any information. The government says it's speculation. We do have a lot of quite well-founded information being provided to us that says this, in fact, is being considered. And obviously the government wouldn't be spinning information to some selective reporters unless it was in fact planning to do something. So we have an obligation to ask about it. And I think that the challenge for us is that we simply don't know exactly what it is the government is contemplating doing or signing. And I think that's what we're entitled to know as a House of Commons.
What do you think of the answers that the government's been giving in recent days, including the one that you got from the Prime Minister today on border security and this supposed agreement that they've all been working on?
The Prime Minister is not coming forward with the full story on the border agreement, and I think that has a lot of Canadians concerned. Of course, the government hasn't been very transparent on an awful lot of things, unlike what they promised when he said he was going to be a different kind of government when he first came forward to offer himself as Prime Minister. And on an issue like this, I think it's very important that there be a full debate in Canada about the implications, the pros and cons. There's certainly some things that need to be done to improve the flow of goods and people across the border, but I think there's also a lot of fears regarding the potential threats to our sovereignty. And we're not getting straight answers from the Prime Minister, that's for sure.
Are you worried that it's going to happen in January when the House isn't sitting?
Well, of course, we're concerned that this could be done while the accountability that the House is able to provide isn't there, and that he'll set us on a course without the approval of Parliament that many Canadians might be very concerned about.
Another issue on border security. You were in power at a time when governments here and there were trying to reach sort of a grand partnership. I think it was done fairly publicly, actually, but
that's the point.
Well, it didn't get anywhere. Now we have this apparent deal that's being worked on that we're only learning of because it was leaked. And then when you folks talk about it in the House of Commons, they talk about it as media speculation. What's going on here? Is this all just media speculation, or is there something happening?
Well, where there's smoke, there's fire, and the government really does have an obligation to be forthcoming here. It's rather astounding that you have the Foreign Minister for Canada and the Secretary of State of the United States in a meeting about 10 miles away, and they don't appear to have discussed the subject. That really does stretch the credibility of even this government. The fact of the matter is, either they've got a deal already done, in which case they should be forthcoming and tell Canadians what the terms and conditions are, not wait another 4 or 5 days till Parliament adjourns and the Christmas holidays come upon us, and then bingo, they make an announcement between Christmas and New Year's or the first week of January. This is the sort of thing should be revealed to the public and to Parliament when the House of Commons is in session, so you can have that immediate oversight, the questioning, the cross-examination to determine exactly what is going on here. There are issues related to sovereignty, which are fundamentally important. In future, who's going to design the Canadian immigration policy? Will it be actually done in Ottawa, or will it be done in effect in Washington by the terms and conditions of what they're putting together? What are the implications for privacy that are particularly impacted in a very big way by what this deal may or may not involve? What are the costs that are going to be involved? All of those are critically important questions. The government needs to be more forthcoming about what is at play here. If there is a deal already done, which one could say from the tea leaves appears to be the case, then reveal it now while Parliament is in session and the deal can be cross-examined. If the deal is not done yet, but they're working on it in some kind of secret negotiations, well, it's high time to bring Canadians into your confidence and get public input into this process before it's too far gone.
What immigration issues are you concerned about, and privacy issues?
Well, the whole question of how you deal with people coming into the country. Is it going to be the rules devised in Ottawa that will govern immigration policy and refugee policy in the future? Or is it in fact going to be a set of rules devised in Washington and simply given to Canada on a take it or leave it basis? Those are the sorts of crucial details that need to be elaborated upon here before the fact, not after the fact, and then announced during the Christmas holiday when the government hopes that Canadians will simply not notice. It's obvious that there are privacy issues involved in this play because apparently in some of the documentation that has been circulating around, the government has the audacity to identify the privacy commissioner as one of the people who is likely to raise very strenuous objections. That analysis, the political analysis of the government setting up the privacy commissioner as an enemy that they have to silence, well, that should bring off some pretty big alarm bells about what's going on here.
Think of the answers the government has been giving in recent days, including today, on this border security agreement that they're apparently working on with the U.S.
I think that, as it seems, it is more than an administrative agreement. It could modify certain laws, not only federal laws, but provincial laws, if I'm thinking about immigration. Yeah. So it's much more like a treaty. And Prime Minister Harper said in a speech from the throne 2-3 years ago that all treaties have to be voted in the House. So I expect that process to be more transparent and a vote to support or not an agreement which is more a treaty than a simple agreement.
You'd expect a binding vote?
Yes, absolutely.
Perimeter deal that they're working on. What do you think about the fact every time you raise it in the House of Commons, they talk about media speculation?
You know, it would be laughable, farcical, if it wasn't so serious. What we're talking about here is Canada's sovereignty. We're talking about Canadians' privacy, and this government doesn't want to talk about it all. And even, you know, as I said in the question period, even this government should be concerned about privacy, and they make no bones about, we have to have integrated economies and all the rest of it, and some of us have some concerns about whether they're doing that. But when it comes to Canadians' privacy, and when it comes to Canada's sovereignty, that needs to be debated in the House of Commons, and they need to tell us what the plan is. And to just, there's nothing here and move along is frankly ridiculous.
If you fear they're playing for time so that after you guys break, then that's when they learn about it?
If I had more time on my question, I would have said, when is this deal going to be signed off? What's in the deal? I asked that and, fluffed off as usual. But, when are they going to sit down and, dot the I's and cross the T's and sign the agreement? We're hearing that might be done before Parliament comes back. And so we've seen this before. We had it with the previous government. It was the Security Prosperity Partnership. It was done behind closed doors. There was no option for Canadians to get in on the debate. I thought we were past that. I thought we were going to actually have a debate and have accountability. And with this government, it's actually behind closed doors. And if you ask anything about it, they accuse you of some conspiratorial theory that actually doesn't exist. What exists is them putting forward a plan that we heard about and them denying that it exists, and that's reprehensible. And we need to actually have this some daylight on this. And if it's a deal that's going to be going forward, why wouldn't Parliament be pleased with this?
As somebody mentioned, I have a southpaw, so it always looks a little funny on TV.